I have been talking about Kyle Rittenhouse, and I know you, obviously, with your coverage, you have been covering that story since the beginning, since the inception. Recently, yesterday, he announced that he wants to have the gun that he used to kill 2 Black Lives Matter protesters. He wants to have that gun destroyed. Now, I want to play the full segment. It's a segment from our friend over at the Damage Report, John Iadarola, with the TYT network, as he breaks down this newfound, whatever this is that Kyle Rittenhouse is doing, because I'm sorry, I have a hard time believing that he wants to destroy the gun out of compassion and empathy and those good things. To me, it seems like he might be setting himself up for a book deal. We'll get to that in a minute. Here's a clip of Kyle Rittenhouse discussing why he wants to get rid of the gun and the way this country celebrates a 2-time murderer.
For Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle.
This is your gun, right?
That's my rifle.
Yeah, that is yours, right?
That we're having destroyed right now. We don't want anything to do with that.
Oh, wow.
Kyle Rittenhouse, in the wake of his multiple killings, his public image, he wanted to assure you that your beliefs that you might have immediately had about him politically are not true. This doesn't really represent who he is. You think that he's some sort of white supremacist or that this was an ideological thing. That's not true at all. Of course, he then went and did a documentary with Tucker Carlson, and he's appeared on every like caveman right-winger show and podcast and all that in the country. So what's next for him? Apparently, if you thought he might want to be moving on from this whole thing and not having it define his existence, maybe not. He's apparently considering writing a book about his unorthodox journey into adulthood. And by that, he means the time he decided to go and shoot people. His spokesperson, which he has, says that there are preliminary internal discussions about him writing a book. Read that as another person writing a book and him signing off on it. He's not literally going to write one single word about himself. They said it will most likely be a story of a young man's very unorthodox journey into adulthood, what it took to make it, and the lessons he learned along the way. What do you mean what he took to make it? He took a gun he shouldn't have had to a protest and shot people. He learned some lessons about how to make money off of killing people. He definitely learned that.
The lessons he's learned is how to be a good right winger. And people are like, hey, you got to do some way to make sure you capitalize off of this attention. So since you're catering to old conservatives, you have to write a book. What is it about what Kyle Rittenhouse would write or someone else would write in his name would make you think, hey, this guy has lots to say that I'd like to hear?
Now, that second voice was JR from the TYT network and the Damage Report. Everything that they said, I agree. I think it is rooted in the book. But Georgia, to me, what stands out is the fact that after this man killed those 2 Black Lives Matter protesters who were white, but they were protesting on behalf of Black life, after he killed them, he started getting enough donations to be able to hire professional publicists, to be able to hire people who could do press releases, to not only that, to get the attorneys that he needed to get away with murder. So it just reminds me of, if you kill people in this country, and you don't even have to kill Black people anymore, you just got to kill people who agree with Black people, you still come out like a hero and get millions of dollars.
Yeah. And it's deeply disturbing that here we are in 2022 and you have Rittenhouse who can basically take a page out of the book of the killers of Emmett Till, and it still works in this nation. I've been following the series Women of the Movement on ABC over the last few weeks and just learning more about the trial surrounding those who were charged with Emmett's death. And we know today that nobody was ever charged for his kidnapping or his murder. And the gaslighting and everything that happened to his mother, who stood up and said by any means necessary, she was going to fight for justice for her baby boy. And here with Rittenhouse, I mean, he literally has done the same exact thing that those men did decades ago, and it still works in this country. And so at what point, and it's not because Black people have especially in the last 2 years, stood up and said that systematically there are things within the systems around us that are continuing to oppress us, that are continuing to produce inequities. At what point is white America going to wake up and say that we want to foster a different type of society? I mean, it made me sick to see that two-time killer on stage being celebrated like he's a superstar, but that is right. The society in which we live in. We have fostered spaces where people with these radical ideologies that feel like violence against Black people or violence against people who agree with Black people is okay. We're fostering these environments. And so what do you think is going to come from it? And it's a direct response to Trump having been in office, I think.
I absolutely agree. DJ exclusive. I don't know if you don't see it on my side, but I have to confess the legends are true. Rebecca Zor is here to join us in this conversation. That might be the earliest I've ever seen her, but this is an important conversation. I'm such an asshole. Y'all forgive me. I want to bring Rebecca into the conversation. It is a serious conversation. DJ exclusive, one of the first things you said when you saw that clip, before it even got 30 seconds into the clip, you immediately said how disgusting it was. But what blows me away is we can clearly see that the way they celebrate Kyle Rittenhouse in this country is absolutely disgusting. But to them, it's like they feel like they're on the right side of history, bro.
Like I said, it's absolutely disgusting. But I mean, unfortunately, it makes sense. This is the country that we live in, that they celebrate the killers of those that support Black people and black movements. So the way they celebrated that man and cheering his name on like he's some national treasure when he's a national POS. And if you don't know what that means, then I'm sorry. I can't tell you what it means. So, but figure it out.
Not on this show.
Not a piece of sugar.
Pounds of sugar.
Not a piece of sugar.
Rebecca Azor is with us early in the morning, sis. I know we're going to bring you in a moment as soon as we get you on the screen, but we hear your voice. How you doing this morning, sis?
I'm doing good. Look, I ain't know. Okay. Hey, guys. Glad to be on the clock today.
Yes. It is so good to see you.
Good to see you.
She's like, I'm awake. I'm waking up.
She says, trust me.
Everything was wrong over here. I'm looking at my mic. I'm like, you guys can hear me? Because I didn't know what was happening.
We heard everything, sis. We heard it all. Everything. But thankfully we were talking.
Yeah.
But listen, Rebecca, thank you so much for joining us early. It is Freedom Friday. We're blowing away the borders. No borders across the shows this morning. We're talking obviously about Kyle Rittenhouse. The other part of this is how professional sounding his PR team is. I don't know. Do we have that B-roll or the actual language, David, from his publicist? Because now the language coming out of team, he's got a whole team. Say that again, David.
This one didn't have that B-roll.
Okay, so Kyle Rittenhouse has a whole team now. His family has spokespeople now, right? And I'm not wealth or whatever. That's fine. If you're rich, whatever, we'll talk about that. But I am disgusted with the fact that his wealth, Rebecca, is rooted in the fact that he killed people supporting Black lives. Now, that's why he has publicists. That's why he has attorneys. He's wealthy now because of how he treated people supporting Black lives.
Yeah, he murdered them, and he was supported by white evangelicals who, like, upon other people, Karens, all of them, like all these white groups who wanted to protect this person because this person was saying that, the country is browning. The Black people are out of control. And we need to, get them in order. And this young fella did a noble thing in the name of America and went out and killed two white people but went out and killed 2 allies. And
right.
for them, he was doing the work. He was doing the work of God. He deserved, repentance. He deserved forgiveness. And it was their job to get him that. Now, there are so many black folks in jail right now for minor things that can't even see a judge, can't get any assistance, can't get anything. This man, Kyle Rittenhouse, was in jail for like 2.5 seconds, got out, became a celebrity, is writing a book. Every time he steps out, he's being praised. It's not shocking to see, because I've seen this in other areas with other people. Like people could work with Donald Trump, that 1 second, and then go write a book and be so famous. This is the effect that things are happening now. But I don't know if I'm pissed to see it, or if I'm pissed that I already expected that this would happen. It shouldn't be normal. This should not be every day. I don't like it. And look how he aged. Remember when they were trying to make him meek and humble, and then young, and still got milk on the tongue. Remember that? That was just like a few weeks ago.
That's right.
And now here he is on the stage, and he's giving us grown-ass man 5 kids, trust fund kid. Like, this is
trust fund,
Trust fund kid. Oh my gosh.
That's right. That's right. Sister Ford, sound like you were about to jump in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to find the words for it, because it's deeply disturbing and sickening. That we've arrived at a place as a society where someone who kills someone is celebrated. Right. I mean, it's just that simple. I mean, where is the moral values that we used to uphold in this country? And maybe we never fully did, right? But we strived for that. And I feel like there was a period of time in this country where we were fighting for that. And it feels like our morale as a society has continued to erode and diminish to the point where someone kills someone and now they're a celebrity for that.
I don't want to belabor this point, but this is, we got to really, let's contextualize this. Kyle Rittenhouse is perhaps the most famous murderer in the most powerful empire in the history of the planet. Everybody understands that here to this point, the United States of America got more guns, more territory. They are the global empire. Kyle Rittenhouse is now the face that they promote as the hero of this American empire. That blows me away to see that white supremacy is so committed to itself that they would take this boy, this man, and take the fact that he's a murderer. It really just, I mean, the only thing I can compare it to be honest with you, I hate having to use religious allusions all the time, but it reminds me of the people who chose Barabbas over Jesus. They chose a murderer over Jesus in the Bible. And I'm like, y'all evangelical Christians, how can you even celebrate Christmas this year when y'all have literally picked Barabbas over the truth? You picked Barabbas over justice, and now they're parading this clown all over the country, and now he's getting ready to write a book. And so that he doesn't get the book deal taken away from him, he wants to be the moral, upstanding guy now because he's going to destroy the gun that he used to kill 2 people.
Ugh, I can't even stand to see his
just
face.
Disgusting, bro. Right. I'm sitting over here in this just absolute disgust looking at these pictures. It's just disgusting.
Because those people are gone. And
imagine how the families feel too.
And imagine how those families feel. But they, and these people are gone. Also, we know Kyle's name way more than we've,
the victims.
I couldn't tell you their names right now, the victims, to be honest. Right. Unless I'm reading it from a script or a news article. And also, it's just very reminiscent of cops who kill Black people or cops who kill people who are allies, or it's just that whole thing. He was a cop in training, so much so that the police officers who were here to serve and protect, right, in that moment, who were supposed to be serving and protecting everybody, but we know that's not what they're there for at the protest. But they were there to serve and protect people, were dapping him up, saying he's doing the right thing. So he felt empowered in that moment by the very people that are supposed to serve and protect us no matter what.
That's right. Well, they were throwing them bottles of water. They literally we had that footage. You know what? This is how the algorithm works. I had footage of the police officers actually throwing him water, and somebody on YouTube went through and took all those down with a copyright violation. Now that video might still be out there, but you got to search a lot deeper to find it. I say that to say there's plenty of evidence to show exactly what you're talking about, Rebecca. The fact that he was pals with the cops that night, the fact that they gave him cover, they gave him water, they gave him that validation that he needed to go out there and to do what he did. And so, you know what? One of y'all said it. I don't know whether we should be hurt or upset, because watching it unfold in real time, you kind of knew this was going to happen. You kind of knew that they were going to get behind him so much that he was going to be able to be found innocent in this injustice system of ours. So,
well, and then I think, the other question is what precedent has this set in the future if there are groups that decide to go out and exercise their First Amendment right. They're protesting, they're standing up for Black lives, and another Rittenhouse decides to come along and in his case, I mean, when you really look at the events that unfolded, he was there as an agitator. So you show up to a protest as an agitator with a gun. What precedent has this set for the future? And even here in Minneapolis, which was considered the epicenter of a global movement for police accountability, even here we're seeing legislation that is making it very difficult for organizers to kind of protest on the fly. So if let's say someone was killed by the police today, you would not be able to protest today. You could get a misdemeanor offense if you protested today, because the new requirement is that you pull a permit 7 days in advance. So the earliest you could protest after somebody would be killed by the police is 7 days. And if you don't comply with that, you will be charged with a misdemeanor. And so with the legislation combined with the fact that we've seen people like Rittenhouse go to protests, shoot people, kill people, and get off. We also saw that happen to a man named Kelvin Horton. Kelvin Horton was a Black man, a father of 5, I believe, in Minneapolis, protesting for George Floyd. A business owner shot and killed him and was never charged with anything.
Wow.
What precedent have we set here? Where are the protections for people exercising their First Amendment constitutional right?
Right. Georgia, I'm not going to give all the details, but you and I and our team, we're working on a story of something similar that happened in the state of Georgia, where now a young Black man was killed, not by police, but by one of his neighbors. And that neighbor was not arrested. There was no investigation. That neighbor is still free to this day, despite there being witnesses who said it was not self-defense. So the precedent that this has set is one where people now, and then, my God, there was a video, I don't think we covered it on the show, but right after Kyle Rittenhouse got off, there was 2 men who were fighting over stepchildren, and the father killed, or rather the boyfriend killed the father, and he wasn't arrested, right?
Yeah,
and we saw the video.
Yeah.
We covered that on the show. Man,
yeah.
This is going to make a lot of people, Georgia, to your point, and I know we got to go to break, but it's going to make a lot of people feel like they too can get away with murder.